Accurate bookkeeping is the foundation of any successful medical practice. In this video, I will show you how to set up your vendors and correctly post your transactions so that your books are clean, correct, and audit ready from day one. All right, let's get started. Okay, hi. All right, we're going to do step 2. In the first video, I showed you how to purchase the QuickBooks and how to set up your chart of accounts. And I also showed you how to connect your bank account. So now we are going to work with adding transactions to your checking account and also how to post payroll if you are a W-2 employee of your medical practice and or if you have an employee. So I have 59 transactions that are imported, honestly, because this is a demo file, it's not to a real bank account. So this is the first thing you're going to see once you connect. Now, mind you, we've already created all of our categories. We might just have to work on a couple things. So I hate this view. And until they get rid of it, I'm going to teach you on it's right here, it says previous version. So we're going to go over here to switch to previous version. It's much cleaner and simpler. Okay, so I just want to explain this a little more and what is this when you get here and what is going to happen. The bank transaction window is a way to not have to do data entry. So 20 years ago, I would go to a medical practice, I would work in a tiny little office, and I would hand post every transaction off of, the activity off of a website or their bank statement. And I would literally have to enter the date, the payee, the amount, and the category. And what this does is it does the date, it does the amount. You can make rules to get the payee in there and to memorize the category. So you can minimize the amount of time it takes to post these transactions. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to post one and then I'm going to show you where it goes and what that actually means, because a lot of times when I'm working with people, they don't have any idea like what's really happening or why they are even doing this. So I want to show you something. We're going to go to the chart of accounts. And here's our Chase checking. I just want you to notice how right now there's nothing in the Chase checking register. So what that means is nothing has actually been posted or entered, right? This bank transaction piece is like Limbo world. So they're here ready to be added, but they haven't been. So that's why the Chase checking is at 0. Now, one way to move through a lot of transactions is to sort them. So I sorted them by amount. I clicked the receive button. So these are all the session income. The other thing, as I recommended, if you right click and you click duplicate, I want you to print out the chart of accounts that you imported or the chart of accounts that's in your file. Because it's better to have an idea of your categories before you start trying to work in a bank transaction window. So if we go down here, I just want to show you what we have. So patient fees is our code for any of the deposits. So for the first one, I'm going to, and now remind you, don't put in a payee. You should delete anything if they Zelle you or their name comes through anywhere in the bank detail, I would delete it. So that patient name isn't in your QuickBooks. QuickBooks is not HIPAA compliant. So I'm going to click add. Now I'm taking you back to the Chase account. And you will see that now there's $350. I'm now going to take you to a standard profit and loss and show you what that posting of that entry did. So because we've added one entry only, we have one entry in our checking account, we have an income of $350. So this goes back to that bank transaction window. It's in limbo until we click add, post, or categorize. They're kind of all the same name. So now I also would recommend that they call these bookmarks. So if there's things you use a lot, I click them. Then it's up in my bookmarks section, and it's easier to navigate back and forth to the different windows. I'm going to close this out. There will be a lot of pop-ups. Now that I showed you how to post one transaction, I'm going to show you how to make a rule for that same transaction. So we have already categorized or added. See, it depends on the version you're using, but terminology is post, add, categorize. We can create a rule for all of these deposits to auto post, so you don't have to sit there and come up with a code every time. Money in, I like bank text. Now on the patient session, you want to make sure it didn't have like a number or a date. We're saying if it's a deposit, we want it to go to patient fees, as long as it holds the words patient session. Now that was just how the AI made these transactions. So I'm going to click this. We don't want to ever replace the bank memo. And you should always test the rule. So it's going to post 19 transactions. I'm going to hit save. Oh, it took away my patient fees. So just go back. Okay, so now, again, let's go see what that did. I just really want to drill this in. So now the patient fees have been added. Let's look what it did for your income. So now you have 8,050 in deposits. So now we've posted all of our deposits, but you're going to need to post your expenses. I'm going to leave out the payroll. That will be a separate video. But one thing I'm going to say is you don't post your payroll through the bank transaction window. So these would be excluded. I'm going to leave them in there for now. A couple things to think about when you're starting your brand new file. It's usually easier to enter all your vendors beforehand instead of doing it on the fly. And the other thing is, that's why in the first video, we set up all of our chart of accounts ahead of time. It will sometimes make it easy for you to add them, and sometimes it won't. I do like to plan ahead, but I'm just going to show you kind of how you can do it either way. So in this case, we're going to say QuickBooks. Sometimes it will do this nice blue line, and then it types it all out for you. And you're using QuickBooks for software, so you'll click add. The other way that you can create your vendor names is to go over to expenses and bills, vendors, so that you can make that a bookmark, click vendor. And I would recommend setting them up ahead of time. It'll make it much faster. So if you just pull out your bank and credit card statement, we haven't even done that yet. I also had BMW. So this is much more structured. Now, we know Adobe, we're going to want to use software. QuickBooks is software, BMW. So as you're entering your vendor names, you should have your printout and you should make sure you have that category. So let's say that this is a lease. Let's go to our chart of accounts. We'll scroll down to auto and make sure we have that ahead of time. And you'll have to speak with your CPA whether you are allowed to take auto or not. So I don't think we have that one set up. Oh, we do. Okay, so let's go check 61200. This is why you don't want to do it inside your bank transaction. So we only have a parent for auto. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new account. It will be sub under. I'm adding a number. Since it's the 61200, I like to do increments of 25. So I'm starting my first sub account with 25. So again, I made sure that I had the vendor name is created and that I actually have the correct category or account code and or chart of accounts, many names for the same term. So I'm going to show you how to make a couple more rules and then I will do the rest myself and come back. So you can also do this, like we were talking about BMW, right? So by putting that in, I filtered down. So I already made the category BMW Financial Services. It picked this. It's kind of like AI. It's not great. And most of the time it picks the wrong things. So I've had a lot of people say, well, QuickBooks picked it. And I always say, well, you're smarter than QuickBooks. So now we could just post individually each time. I think that is kind of wasteful because we could create a rule. We could make it an auto add rule, or we could make it just so you have to add them each time. So let me show you what you do. You create the rule. This will really speed up your bookkeeping. Money out all bank accounts, bank text. Then we can test the rule. And good, it picked up all three. We never want this replace bank memo, so always click double. Now I'm going to take off the auto add to show you what that looks like. From what I picked in that window, it's now showing auto lease. So that looks good. Click save. So this is a nice way to do it as well. Depends really on how much bookkeeping you're trying to catch up. So what's happening is if I take the BMW piece out, and we look at everything in we hit refresh. Now you'll see the rules, right? So you could click into it just to double check your coding, what your rule did, and you could click add. But if we had made the rule, it's funny, it's hard to get to rules now. Okay, over here, rules. I'm gonna go back, go to rules. And now I could go in and edit my BMW and say auto add. and go back to bank transactions. Now, the weird thing is sometimes even when you have transactions set to auto rule and to auto add, it doesn't always add them. But I don't see BMW. I'm going to search BMW, hit enter, nothing's there. So let's go right here to the bank register and see where they just magically went into the bank register. And here they are, BMW. It also has a little plus sign there with the square, which means it was auto added. So if something's coming in miscategorized and you see the little pluses, that means it's on an auto add. So you're going to want to go and edit your rule. But that made it much easier. I didn't have to click, add each time. Okay, so I am going to work on the transactions in our window. I'm going to add all the vendors and I'm going to show you what it looks like next. All right. Okay, guys. So this second step I will do in the next video, but I have cleared my bank transactions out except for the payroll, which I don't want you posting through the bank transaction window because it wouldn't be correct. And I will do, that requires a completely different video. So if you don't have payroll, we're going to go on to the next step and I'm going to show you what things look like. If you do have payroll, you'll want to watch my next video that shows you how to correctly post this. I've added all the transactions that I imported for this theoretical psychiatry practice. So let's just go look at what's happened. So now our Chase checking went from 0 to 33,349. It has lots of deposits and expenses. And so now we have, so far, in our first video, we bought the QuickBooks. We set up the chart of accounts, right? In this video, we have created vendors. We have figured out how to create bank rules, and we have added the transactions. Now, if your practice did not have payroll, the next step would be to reconcile. You can still look at your profit and loss, but it's absolutely not for sure correct if you don't do a bank reconciliation. So that will be one of the next things I do in one of my next videos. But let's just look. If you didn't have payroll, you would be able to go to your profit and loss. You'd be able to see how much you had in income. So I see that this got categorized wrong, so I will go back and fix that. That's what you want to look at. A rule is obviously wrong. So I will fix it so it all goes to patient fees. And then we have our different expenses. Obviously, there could be a lot more. But again, this is a demo file, and you're able to then see your net operating income. All right, I hope you found this helpful. Please put any video requests in the comments, or you can email them to hello@madisonavbookkeeping.com. All right, have a great day.